Well, thank you all for having me. And my name is Candy Wilhelm, and I work at WVU. And what I'd like to do is just talk to you for a few minutes today about graduate school, particularly at WVU in our College of Business and Economics. And if you're looking for programs outside of business, we can talk about that afterwards a little bit. I can at least get your information and pass that along to the right folks as well. So, why graduate school? How many of you are seniors? Oh, a lot of you. Okay, juniors? Sophomores? Okay, any freshmen? Oh, no. All right, so what we like to say is it's never too late to think about graduate school. Even if you are a senior, it's not too late to give it consideration, even for coming up this summer or this fall to pursue your master's degree, but it's also not too early. The earlier the better, because you can start making plans now and start thinking about your bachelor's degree as more than just a 4-year program, but a five-year plan, and finish up with your master's degrees. So for graduate school at Concord, of course, you're getting all the basics that you need at the bachelor's level. So how many accounting students do we have? A few? Business management? Okay, several. Finance? Oh, quite a few finance. All right, economics or anything else, HR? Okay, I think most of you are covered in those. You're going to get the basic skills that you need, like I said, at the bachelor's level. But what happens is when you do a master's degree, it builds on that skill set that you already have at the bachelor's level. So you can see here, graduate school is going to go beyond the basic concepts. You should be equipped and ready for a job with your bachelor's degree, but grad school is not like it, or bachelor's degree is not like it used to be. When I went to college, I didn't have to worry about necessarily going for a master's degree. But, when my parents went, they didn't even have to go to college. I was first generation. I didn't even want to go to college when I graduated from high school, but of course my parents said, no, you're going to go. And I'm thankful that they did, so I went to WVU and studied accounting. But, I had a job lined up in Charleston. It was Arnett and Foster at the time, but our former dean of students approached me about graduate school. I had no desire in graduate school. I didn't even want to do the bachelor's to begin with. But the opportunity presented itself. I had funding available. And the way he explained it is, why not invest 1 more year or 2 more years, depending on the program you're in, and then it'll pay off. You can always start a family down the road. You can always build your career. You're going to have your rest of your life to build your career. But while you're in college now, you have a unique opportunity to pursue something beyond the bachelor's degree. It's possible to go back after you've been out working for several years, but you have to weigh out the opportunity cost, because just speaking honestly, once you do get out and you start making money, it's really hard to give up a career to go back to pursue your master's or PhD program. So with this expectation, you're also interacting with a diverse group of professionals. So you're building with alums, with other mentors. In our master's program, let's say, excuse me, you're in the Masters of Accounting program. You're going to be networking with MBA students, with MS Finance students, with our HR people, because these are all people you're going to work with in the real world, sorry, after graduation. So these are all things that you'll do and work with, and you're going to be building your network relationship with that. Okay, so benefits of a grad degree, and some of these are obvious, but why would you consider graduate school? What are some of the reasons? We'll pick on you.
A better job.
Yes. What else?
Better pay.
Yes, better pay is what most people say. Better opportunities for a better job or opportunity. Of course, with your master's degree, you are likely to earn a higher salary. So starting out, just as if you were to graduate from high school and get a job, you could, but your pay is going to be minimal, which is why probably most of you are here pursuing a bachelor's degree to get a better job, to have a higher salary. Then when you think about a master's degree, on average, your salary is going to go up considerably higher when you're working towards that master's degree after graduation. you're going to have greater opportunities to compete. All of you, I'm sure a lot of you are friends in the room, but you're going to be competing against each other when it comes time for opportunities and in the job workforce. So as you're competing, if I have the two of you back here and I'm the person hiring, and one of you has a bachelor's degree, one of you has a master's, your other skill sets are equivalent, I'm going to provide you with a higher position because you have the master's degree. So I'm assuming that you can more critically think. And I didn't pick you because you're the girl. I'm just saying. More likely than not, you're going to have a deeper skill set and likely to perform better than those just with a bachelor's degree. And then, of course, the network that we mentioned on the previous slide. You're going to have numerous opportunities to network, and just having that master credential or PhD credential holds a lot of weight as you move forward. Okay, so what we can do is talk about a little bit about the programs that we offer in the College of Business and Economics at WVU. All of our programs are fully accredited by the AACSB, and that's the gold standard for business schools. So 5% of schools in the world have it. WVU is one of those. So you know you're getting the best quality. It means that a certain level, probably about 90% or more of your classes are going to be taught by someone who has their PhD, has worked in industry for a while. We don't have graduate students teach our courses. It also means that we have a higher quality of student. Because the admission criteria is a little more selective, you're in a classroom with students who are very high achieving students. So the programs that we offer, of course, we offer the MBA, the Master's in Business Administration, the Master's in Finance, a Master of Science, a Master in Professional Accountancy, and also a Master of Science in Industrial Relations, which is Human Resources. And then we also offer a certificate in Forensics and Fraud Examination. And in addition, we have a number of dual degrees. So you could actually, instead of staying for 1 year and getting one master, you could stay 2 years and get two masters. So you could do an MBA and Master's in Finance, or an MBA and a Master's in Accounting, Public Health, Human Resources. We have law school, farm school that are combined with our MBA, also medical school and dental school, if any of you are interested in the health sciences. And then we also have a number of PhD programs. Oh, thank you. A number of PhD programs in management, marketing, accounting, and finance. A lot of our PhD students will go straight from the master's program and jump into the PhD. And this is something I can provide more information to you after the presentation if you're thinking long term, if you enjoy teaching and you want to work for a high research institution, then a PhD may be something that you want to give consideration to. So we'll talk just a little about an overview about each of the programs broken down, and then any questions you have, feel free to ask. Our MBA, we have information up here, but a traditional MBA program is 2 years. Ours is 1 year. It's the same amount of credits as a 2-year, but we've packed it into 13 and a half months. So you're still taking 50 credit hours. You don't have to write a thesis, and you still get a master's out of it. But you would start in the summer in June, and I know we have at least one student from Concord joining us with our MBA program this summer, and then fall, spring, and then the following summer you would finish up with that. Again, that program's fully accredited. At the end of your spring semester, you actually get to go abroad to Germany or China for 2 weeks, and you take an international business course in the spring. And then on the trip, it's part business. You'll visit companies. If you're in China, you may go visit GM, believe it or not. A lot of the cars are made there. And Bao Steel, the second largest steel group in the world. Companies like that you'll visit with local universities, schools that we have partnerships with, and you'll interact with the students from those local universities. Germany, we have a partnership with Fulda, and you'll go and visit manufacturing. So the Audi, how they make those cars, BMW, Mercedes. Microsoft has a large, not their headquarters, but they have a large operation in Frankfurt. You'll go and visit companies like that. And then you also do the sightseeing stuff. So you're learning how business works on a global scale. Now, in addition to that opportunity, also in the classroom you get that international experience. So for our MBA program, about this year around 45% of our students are from other countries. We have 13 countries represented in this year's class, so you're getting that global perspective in the classroom as well as outside. Everything's team-based, and I don't know how your classes are structured and set up here, but at the MBA level, you're placed with people from other disciplines. So if you're accounting, you may be placed with an electrical engineer, psychologist, someone who studied English, and then the 4 or 5 of you team up together for your projects. So your strengths help their weaknesses and the other way around. We at WVU at the undergrad, we don't do a lot of team. We do some projects, but not a lot. But at the master's level, it's definitely team-based, because when you go to work, that is what it is. You're working with a team, whether you're supervising the team or you're doing the work as a team member. So we want you prepared to do that. And then access to our Career Development Center. We have 2 professional development courses you take in the MBA program because a lot of our students come straight out of undergrad and jump into the MBA, and we want to make sure you're equipped and ready to be a professional. So we actually have our director for our Career Service Center, Jen, will teach those courses and then bring in employers, so you're constantly networking from the time you start in June until you finish in May. And of course, the ultimate goal is that you get a job. It helps us with our rankings, but it also helps you as you move into your career. Okay, our Master's of Science in Industrial Relations, and like I mentioned before, it's HR. So if you enjoy working with people, maybe you enjoy arguing. We have arbitration as a large part of our HR. If you enjoy negotiations, it's not all policy sitting behind a desk. It's not like that at all. This program is a 2-year program, but it's very hands-on. So from the time you start in August, you're meeting, they have practicums every Friday, and they bring in people from HR that interact with you and also interview you. The summer following your first year, you'll have an internship, and usually by October, most of our students in our HR program already know where their internship's going to be. We have excellent placement, 100% placement with this program for our domestic students, and they're placed in companies like PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, GE, Westinghouse. We have alums all over the world and do very, very well in placing our students. So if you're a people person and you enjoy that type of thing, then this is definitely a good program to look at, and I can provide more information to you. We also have a global track with this program, so you could actually come to WVU in the fall, and then in the spring go to Strasbourg, France for a semester, come back and do your internship for the summer, and then they have the opportunity to go to Hong Kong or Korea to study the following fall, and then finish up your last semester at WVU. So again, it's a unique opportunity, and our students do very, very well with that. Okay, our MS in Finance, I know several of you raised your hands that you are studying finance for your undergraduate degree. If you're thinking about moving on past the bachelor's degree, if the CFA interests you, then the MS Finance is a program to think about. So if you enjoy investments, if you enjoy portfolio management, wealth management, anything, retirement planning, you enjoy working with numbers, which you probably do if you've chosen this as an undergrad major, then we have an MS Finance. It's a 1-year program, 36 credit hours, and then you're in and out. It is very intense, but the whole curriculum is built around the CFA. So we're assuming that your goal is to move on to achieve that CFA level with your career, and that's what the curriculum is built around. About 50% of our students in this program are international, 50% domestic. And again, most of our students, we can see 90% of them pass level 1 after they're finished with the program. A lot of them are ready by December into the program to take level 1, and then by June they're ready to take level 2. And then usually you'll work for a few years to move on to level 3 to do that. And then down here at the bottom, 2 of our faculty members are CFA charter holders. To get 1 faculty member on your staff is a nice honor, but the fact that we have 2 of them teaching you, you can be assured that you're going to be prepared to sit for that CFA after graduation. A lot of our finance students do the dual degree that I mentioned, the MBA and MS Finance, because the finance curriculum is very intensive and finance course related, and you're not getting a lot of the soft skills, the professionalism, the leadership courses, how to interact with people. It's not that finance people can't communicate, it's just that the MBA provides a different perspective. So a lot of students will do the dual degree because you're finished with 2 masters in 2 years, and so then you're ready to move into management, but you have the heavy finance concentration area. And then our last one is our Masters of Professional Accountancy. I know that this has been popular in the past with Concord. We've had several students come up and do our Masters in Accounting. It is a great field, even though I never practiced it. That's what I studied, was accounting. But it's 30 credit hours. Again, it's intensive, but it's designed to prepare you for the CPA. So that accreditation that I mentioned, our Masters in Accounting actually has a separate accreditation, which is above and beyond just the regular accreditation that they have. So you know you're getting the very, very best education when you're studying the Masters. Again, it's similar to the finance in that it's preparing you, instead of for the CFA, it's preparing you for the CPA. So those of you that are hoping to get that, and practice in West Virginia, you know you have to have 150 credit hours to sit for the CPA in most states, not all, but certainly West Virginia and the surrounding states. So this is a great way, if you graduate, if you're graduating on time in 4 years, maybe 4.5 years, this is a great way to go ahead and get your hours in so you have the 150, because you, at least at WVU, I think our typical undergrad has around 128 hours, so they're not quite ready to sit for the CPA, so they will sit and do 1 year of this program. Now, with your bachelor in accounting degree, you can go out tomorrow and get a job. If you can't, then you may not be looking in the right places, because there's always a need for an accountant anywhere in the world. You know that you can do that. Our Master's in Accounting is just preparing you for professional accounting field. So a lot of our graduates to go on to work for the Big Four, or they go into opening their own company down the road. Some of them start with small accounting firms and then work their way up. If you have dreams of working for a Big Four, which a lot of our undergrad students do, it's great, and you can probably get a job tomorrow with your bachelor's degree. But what's going to happen is they're going to expect you to have that CPA within a year, maybe 1.5 years of working for them. But there's no time to study for it, because when you're working for a company like a Big Four, like PwC or somewhere like that, you're working 70+ hours a week. And then maybe, or maybe not, you may or may not have a family, you certainly won't have a social life, and then you're trying to squeeze in time to study for the CPA. So our maybe reasoning or a reason to convince you to stay for that extra year is because once you're finished, you're going to get a job. Over 95% placement, 100% placement again with our domestic students, 95% overall with our students who graduate with this. And then you have the rest of your life to make money and move on to your career. But this is a great way to just sort of jumpstart and launch your career. Already having that master's degree, especially if you want to move into management. If you have a master's degree over someone who has a bachelor's degree, unless they happen to already have that CPA, you're going to have the edge on them as you're competing. Okay, now the thing with Concord, with our accounting program, is Dr. Fleming has worked with Dr. Robinette and some of the other faculty, and they have an articulation agreement with the accounting program. So they know, the accounting professors have worked it out. They know the quality of education you're getting here with your accounting program and your other programs, but accounting is what we've worked with. If you have a 3.3 cumulative GPA and a 3.5 in your accounting courses, if that GPA requirement is met, admissions are automatically guaranteed for you to come on in and do your Master's of Accounting. So if you've been working really hard and you have this GPA requirement, you're ready to go. And the big plus for me, at least, who's not a standardized test person, the GMAT's waived. You don't have to take the GMAT. You're automatically pulled in. So it's something to think about, especially if you're a sophomore or junior. Think about keeping your grades as high as you can, because then you can just slide right in to our Master's in Accounting program, start in the fall, be finished by July, and ready to move on with your life and your career.
They took advantage
that
of
are
it
doing
in the
this.
summer.
So 4 from Concord already.
4 took advantage. They started this past fall, and they'll graduate this July.
Very good. And so these 4 students that are here, I know we could get their information from Dr. Fleming if any of you are interested in contacting them just to see what they thought about the program. I know that they'll say it's intense, but you're finished in a year, and have moved on. And I'm sure they've probably already received offers or will be soon with their jobs. Okay, the global experience, this is just kind of a picture to show you. Most of our programs, you'll do a challenge course. Like I said, a lot of the programs, particularly the HR Masters and MBAs, very team-based. Accounting, finance, maybe not so much. A lot of it's more individual projects. But you'll do the challenge course. You'll go, like I mentioned, to China or Germany for one of those trips. With our MSIR, they go to Strasbourg, and then they visit other parts. They'll visit Germany as well for 2 weeks at the end of the spring semester. And then you can just see the diversity in the pictures. It really is a diverse program in the College of Business and Economics. So for how do you join? These are some of the requirements. With the exception of the accounting, if you meet that criteria, what you'll do is apply online, and then you'll take either the GMAT or the GRE, except for finance. If you're pursuing our master's in finance, you have to take the GMAT. They will not allow the GRE as a substitute. As of about 3 weeks ago, the MBA has now started to accept the GRE. So we will accept the GMAT or GRE for the MBA. Accounting will accept the GMAT or GRE. And then HR will definitely take the GRE as well as the GMAT. We prefer the GMAT, with the exception of our HR Masters, they prefer the GRE. And then you'll just send your transcripts from Concord, very, very easy process. Recommendation letters, which hopefully you'll be able to get from your faculty members or an employer. And then your statement of purpose and a resume. And everything's very, very simple in applying online. Now we tie a lot of our scholarships to the GMAT score. So if you're thinking, even if you're a senior and you're thinking, okay, I want to do this, I want to come up, we link our scholarships to the GMAT. So if you score 650 to 690, we provide a 50% scholarship. And if you're in state, that's a good savings, but if you're out of state, that's really where you save a lot of money if you're not from West Virginia. If you score 700 or higher, then you get a 100% tuition waiver. And the only thing you're paying for are your fees, which are around $600 a semester, and then your cost of living. That varies. You know that even living here, it depends on how nice of an apartment you want or if you have roommates and so forth. And then we have a number of GA positions. They are competitive, but there are some to be had. In the College of Business and Economics, we don't offer a lot of GAs. Most of our funding goes to our PhD students, but we do have a small number. But outside of B&E, the College of Business and Economics, we do have a number of GA positions available. And then, of course, there's student work positions, there's student loans, there's scholarships. If you're from West Virginia, there are a handful of scholarships given. The accounting program in particular has a lot of donors and alums who have done very well for themselves, and they'll give back to students pursuing their master's in accounting. If you're from Kanawha County, or if you're from Wood County or different counties, they even give extra scholarships. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're thinking about the MBA and you score 700 or higher, then you'll get the full tuition waiver, but you'll also get a GA position. There are 10 chosen, but if you're a domestic student, for some reason, sometimes 700 is a little harder to achieve compared to some of our international students. So if you do achieve that, then you're likely to get a GA position. But we have different unique opportunities. For example, there's a new Sheets being built with one of our new dormitories. They're going to hire 3 master students from the College of Business and Economics. They're all going to our college, and they're going to hire 3 GAs for that, so that would help with funding. I mean, there are opportunities to have your education funded. And you have to think about the opportunity costs. If you're in state, you're looking at between $20,000 to $30,000. If you're out of state, you're looking at closer to $40,000 to $55,000, depending on which program you choose, if it's a 1-year or 2-year. But you have to think about the offsets. If you're earning a higher salary with that master's, it may take you 2 or 3 years to earn that back, but then the payoff down the road would be much greater, of course. So that is all I have. What questions do you all have? I have my contact information up here. I know we have one student joining us that I mentioned. We had another email me last night that's also thinking about coming for next year for accounting. Yes.
Is there a difference between the Master's in Finance and the Master's in Energy Finance?
Yes and no. I didn't mention the energy finance. We are starting our Master's in Energy Finance, but it's not officially on the books yet. So what would happen is are you a junior or senior? Oh, by the time you come, it'll be on the books. It's going to say Masters of Science in Finance, and then underneath it on the diploma, it's going to say Energy Finance. It's kind of like our executive MBA. That's for people who have worked 2 years or more. It's a 2-year program, but on the diploma, it still says Master of Business Administration, the same as our full-time. So it'll say Masters in Finance. So for those of you that are juniors, and thanks for bringing that up, we have started an Energy Finance program, which a lot of engineering majors are interested in, but also a lot of finance students. If you, particularly if you're thinking about staying in West Virginia, it's a really hot area right now, or in Pennsylvania, even Texas, some of those areas. There's, of course, a lot of money to be made in that field, but also it's just an interesting field. But we are in the process of hiring our first faculty member and soon to be second faculty member to be teaching those courses. So by the time you apply, we'll have it up and rolling. Yes?
Where does GA positions go? How much are those based on GMAT? Do they look at other things too?
Yes. If you're looking, okay, the MBA GA that I mentioned, definitely 700 or higher. If you're looking for a GA outside of B&E, which I would encourage you to do because I mentioned most of the funding are given to PhD students. For example, if you are a GA at the library or at the Student Recreation Center or a graduate RA in one of the dorms or something like that, they're not even going to ask what your GMAT score is. Some of them may not even know what the GMAT is. Most people know GRE. They don't even know GMAT unless you're in the business school. So they don't care. GPA is what will matter, and then letters of recommendation. What other questions? How many of you are thinking about grad school? Okay, that's really good. That's
How early should they apply? When should they start applying?
Okay, if you're a senior, you need to apply now, because especially for the MBA program, because it starts in June, so you're running out of time for WVU. If you're looking at accounting or finance also starts in June, but the classes are online. So you'll take 2 online classes, and then in August you'll start on campus. Accounting, you have a little bit of time, but the sooner the better, just because you want time to prepare. If you are a junior, that's great. I would say start preparing for the GRE or GMAT now. If you're thinking WVU in one of our master's programs in the College of Business, I would say if you have time to prepare for the GMAT, because our scholarships are always going to be tied to the GMAT. And the reason for it is the rankings. We can control, our class size have actually gone smaller, particularly in our MBA program and NMS and finance program, because we can control who we admit in based on the GMAT score. It helps us with our rankings, so in return we offer scholarships based on that score. But if you're not concerned about funding, or you know you're going to get a GA position, GRE may be easier. Thankfully, I did not have to take either for my master's program, but the GRE, a lot of students find that it's a little bit easier. And it's more verbal and more straight math. Whereas the GMAT, I don't know how many of you have taken it, but it's trick math. They try to trick you. That's what the test is. If you're thinking about the GMAT, a couple websites to consider. MBA.com is where you'll go to register, but you can download 2 free practice tests, and that's the best way to study because those are the questions. And then there's a website called beatthegmat.com. A lot of our students have found that very, very helpful. They'll break out a study plan. So if you have 6 months to prepare, 3 months to prepare, even 30 days, it will break down a timetable and set up what you should be focusing on. Yes?
I'm not sure how relevant this is, but if I were to come to WVU and get my MBA, is where you all are accredited, and I graduate here and my business degree is not accredited, how is that looked at?
It is accredited here. It's just a different type of accreditation. So you are accredited.
Right.
And I don't know the accreditation you have.
HLC, what do we have? North Central.
So, yes. So you're still getting the accreditation. It's just that WVU, that AACSB accreditation I mentioned, that's what you're having on the master's. We've already looked at all your classes here at Concord. And for example, I'm not going to name the schools, but there are some schools we don't go and visit because the classes aren't really equivalent. You wouldn't be able to easily transition. Here, you can. All your classes are going to be very similar to what you have at WVU, and accreditations are just different. Different schools apply for different accreditations. That's the one WVU has applied for because we are the flagship institution. So, of course, there's a certain amount of pressure to have that.
We're working on that one, so a lot of the things that we're doing, we're working on.
I've already
the
geared
same
toward that.
criteria. We just haven't gotten to that level yet.
Exactly. So definitely, I know that our dean and faculty members, they wouldn't ask me to come down and visit Concord if you weren't having the same quality of courses. So you're getting that.
If I'm going to WVU for the MBA next year, and I wanted to get a dual degree, when would I apply for that?
Sooner than later, just because your plan of study will differ. So if you've already, for example, if you've already been accepted into the MBA or finance or whatever program, that's great. But if you know you want to do a dual, you'll apply now, especially our finance and HR, because the courses, you're going to take specialized courses. So in the MBA, like for example, a couple of your economics courses are going to have a finance focus, and those count for some of your finance courses. So rather than taking 36 credits with finance and then 50 credits with the MBA, you're only taking about 70 credits and still getting 2 masters. So they'll overlap. You don't have to do it that way. We have some students who will start just MBA, but then they have to take extra classes in the finance or the other way around. What other question? Yes. It's not. We have that question a lot. It is not offered online at this time. I think it may be something they're going to consider down the road, but we're probably at least 5 years or more out from it. But we've been getting a lot of requests for it. So it's just that there's a certain amount of content the faculty just don't feel comfortable doing online. We offer a few accounting courses online. We offer a few finance online, MBAs, but the actual program has to be done in person. And for those of you that have jobs, if you're even thinking down the road, maybe you want to come back and do your MBA, we do have our executive MBA, and it can be done online, or if you're in the Charleston area or Martinsburg area or Parkersburg, then you can go to 2 evenings a week to CAMC in Charleston or WVU Parkersburg and actually do that. It takes 2 years, takes a little longer, but one advantage is your employer may pay for it. So something to keep in mind if you do already have a job lined up that's too good to turn down and go to grad school now. It may be something you can consider. And it is ranked, our MBA just cracked the top 100, our full-time MBA by U.S. News & World Report, which is a really big deal because there's about 1,500 full-time MBA programs. But our executive online MBA program is actually ranked 23 in the country. And so that's also a very good accomplishment that we're proud of. But that may be something to consider down the road if you're thinking you're going to go work for a while. Okay, well thank you all for having me. And I'll be down here for questions, and then there's some brochures. I apologize, the accounting are black and white, but accounting's actually been our most popular master's program recently, and we keep running out of materials for it. So thank you all for having me, and I'll have the materials down here.
Real quick, let me just mention also, not to take away from
Yeah.
WVU, but don't forget, the end of this month, April 24th, is the undergraduate research day over in the Student Center, and there'll be, I don't know how many, but there's usually at least 15 or 20 graduate schools there. WVU is usually there, but it's just kind of just their general graduate schools, but at least that's a place that you can go. They haven't put the list out yet, but you can check the website. But April 24th, the Student Center Undergraduate Research Day, a lot of the graduate schools will be there. There'll at least be 15 or 20 of them there, and you can get more information as you're deciding.
Yes, and even if you're not thinking WVU, I would say think grad school. because it's really going to jumpstart your career and take you places a lot further than with just the bachelor's degree.
And if you guys will be sure and fill out the evaluation form and make sure you signed in, and don't forget,
I
we
actually
still
have a
got,
couple
we
questions.
have
I didn't
another
ask because it's more like
symposium
personal
this
things.
Okay.
Thursday.
I'm international,
Weather's kind of
Okay.
put everything
so and
back.
I'm
We
doing
have a
finance.
symposium
Very
this
nice.
Thursday.
I just wanted to
And
ask
later on
you,
in the month, there's
how is the
a book presentation
tuition
and
or
then
the
internship
price even? I mean, I've been
symposium. So
studying
be
here
sure
for
and
4
check
years.
that. That's
Does
a
it
good
change?
one.
Am I still considering?